Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome all to the Arkansas Better Chance Provider Call. So we are in the month of May. I know lots of you are very busy with your end of year activities. So we really just have a pretty long agenda today. It's mostly just going over some of the things that we've been talking about in the last couple of months. So we're excited. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. All the ABC team is here on the call, so they will be answering any questions that you may have. And I will put my contact information in the chat box as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. So for anyone who has not been here in the last few months, my name is Kayla Bodie. I'm the program administrator for the Arkansas Better Chance program. And this is our May provider call. If at any time, like I said, there's anything that you have questions about, please feel free to just put it in the chat box. Okay, so the very first thing is I always try to share our contact information. We have this here on the screen just so that you have all of the email address and the phone numbers for all of our ABC team. And again, I will make sure and put mine in the chat box that way you will have it. So today we do have a really full agenda, and we're going to go through some of these sections kind of quickly because we've been talking about them over the last several months. But I just want to touch on several different things. So get in here. So as we spoke about last week, not last week, last month, and we've been talking about this change that we've had in the ABC law. And so, as you all know, ABCSS has now gone away and it is all under ABC, just Arkansas Better Chance. And so we have had a few questions about like eligibility and what that really means. We're updating the rules and the guides to go with this legislative change. But really, all it means is that now, if you're looking in the current ABC guide, you are just going to be looking at the ABC eligibility section. So, whereas ABCSS, if that was the only type of funding you had, you really only had the choice to look at income. And so now that we have these other options, you can look at other things. If the family doesn't qualify under income, you only have to look at one of the criteria that we have here on the screen. And again, this is also in the program guide. You can find that on our website. If for any reason you have any hard time finding that, just let me know. So if you have a family that does not qualify under that 200% of the federal poverty level, but that child was considered low birth weight, so below 5 pounds 9 ounces, which would mean they were at least, they're 5'8". Low birth weight would allow you to qualify that child as eligible for ABC. So if you have any questions about that, or if there's anything that you are concerned about with eligibility, if you're just not sure, you can always reach out to us and we're here to help. So please feel free. Anytime you can send us an email. And I'm going to have Nancy, will you put the COPA support email in the chat box as well? I'm putting my email here, but I'm going to have Nancy put in the COPA support email. You can shoot an email over anytime there, and that way any of our staff can assist, but we can help you if you have eligibility questions. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I'm going to move on. And so, most of you that have been operating on that ABCSS funding, you did have some income exemptions. So you can still use these. It's just not going to be considered an income exemption. So if you have a child that is a foster child at the time of enrollment, and again, like I said, there may be some changes in these things once the rules come out. But as of now, if you have a foster child at the time of enrollment, that would be a qualification for them to be eligible for ABC. So you don't have to change what you were doing. It's just that now you can look at some of those other components other than just income. Okay. And I don't see any questions. So we're going to move right along to our home visiting friends. If you are not a center-based program, you're a home visiting, which is HIPPY or PAT. We want you to really think about if you are going to be utilizing parents as teachers. We've already talked about this. You really should have already reached out to our state home visiting network team at Children's Hospital. You really need to have already reached out to them, but you can go ahead and reach out to them now if you're interested in involving parents as teachers into your program. So if you're looking at serving infants and toddlers and right now you're only a hippie program, that is something you can do. It is a long process, so that's why we really want you to reach out and work with them as quickly as possible. But there's no change to eligibility currently for home visiting, except for being able to do that. So, okay, so let's move on to grant renewal in COPA. Most of you have been working diligently. We truly appreciate you all getting that done. So our due date was May 16th. There was some hiccups with the budget and some other things in COPA that weren't really working appropriately. So we still have it open for you to make changes. We wanted to give you a couple of extra days. Make sure that when you're done with your grant renewal, that you change it from pending to submitted on the application. So when it's that very first page, you click the pencil. When you go to the bottom, there's a little drop down. It says pending. You'll just change that to submitted, and that will let our team know that you're done making any changes. So we are currently reviewing the grant application. It's really just a renewal of your information. We are we're working on the things that you have uploaded. So we'll be looking at your calendar, we'll be looking at your budgets. So please expect that several members of our team may be reaching out to you and asking you questions about maybe your calendar, or if you uploaded your parent handbook. If we have questions, we may reach out just to get with you. Or sometimes it could be as simple as the attachment doesn't open, could be like a broken file, something like that. So just keep an eye out, please, for any of the ABC team to be reaching out to you, because we want to try to get that stuff from you before a lot of you go on summer break. So, any questions about the renewal? Okay, I see Letitia and Miss Nancy both put the COPA support. I don't see any questions. Okay, we will move on to the next talking point. Okay, so work sampling and ounce. I know we've kind of closed out the year for finalization on work sampling and ounce. A lot of you are probably starting to look at summer training opportunities. So, just something that we want to bring to your attention is that if you're planning on enrolling infants and toddlers or young 3-year-olds with the new opportunities to do so, you will need ounce training. So, if you have a young 3 that does not meet that age cut, the August 1 age cutoff, technically, those children are going to can need ounce. And so if you're not already trained in that, that's something that you'll need to do. There are several training opportunities that are coming up over the next couple of months during summer, and then there will be plenty of opportunities going forward. I do have Angela Frank's contact information here on the screen. Just want to share that. That way, if you have questions about ounce or work sampling, or you have questions about upcoming trainings, send her an email. You can give her a call. But you can always just send her an email if there's anything, if you're not sure if you need to take ounce, or you're not sure if that's something that you're going to do, but maybe you're thinking about not this school year, but maybe next school year you're thinking about infants and toddlers, and you just want to know more about what the difference is between maybe your work sampling children and your ounce children and what that looks like. Most of it is really similar from what I remember, but there are tons of trainings. Our friends over at Childhood Services with A-State have so many training opportunities. If you have not already signed up for their newsletter that they send out, I highly recommend that you get signed up for that. Any questions for work sampling and outs? Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about is pre-rollover. I do know that we've kind of already passed the deadline for that. And again, I know that many of you are busy right now with your end of year, just kind of wrapping things up if you're not a year-round program. But please go in and do your pre-rollover in COPA. This is really for you. It's really going to help you once we do the rollover in the COPA system so that when we start back in August, you will have those children already ready to go. We have sent out pre-rollover instructions on exactly how to do that step by step. If you are in any way needing support with that, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us by email. We can send you those instructions. We can help you over email or over the phone, anything that you need. So pre-rollover is super simple. You're really just marking if the child is going to be archived, so they're not going to be in your program next year. Or maybe it's that that child, is graduating, so they'll be archived. Or if the child is going to be returning to your program the next year, you'll just mark them as returning. So you really only have two options. It's super easy, and you can always reach out if you have questions.
Kayla, can I add something to that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as you see on the screen under pre-rollover activity, there is an optional pre-enroll children. Please do not click on that. That puts the children somewhere where you will not be able to access them, and we will have to move them from that list. When you are doing rollover, either assign the children to the wait list or the archive list.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, that last option, it says optional under option E. You'll see the optional pre-enroll. It sounds like a great option. It's not. Like she said, don't click it because they go into like a whole separate area. So you'll just go in and select either they're going to be back to, eligible, back to waiting is what I think that the option is, or they're archived. And Amanda, is there a way to see if it's completed? If you go to your admin tab, we've been checking on these just to make sure it's done. But if you go to your admin tab and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this pre-rollover activity section. And you click on the child next year preparation. You'll be able to see a list of the children in your facility that have already been completed or not completed. So when you click on that, if no children populate, but they populate when you click, you'll see like the archive tab, then that's already been done. And if you specifically want us to check on anything, you can always send an email to that COPA support, and Nancy can check on it individually for you. Yes. Yeah, and we can don't be afraid that to ask questions or to send us an email about these types of things. We know like there's lots of different terminology, pre-rollover, rollover, all these different steps that happened at the end of the year. So we want to make sure that we do it the most efficient way so that when you all come back next year, you're not scrambling, and so we are here to help. So feel free to email us if you have any questions. Okay, so one other thing that we just want to talk about really quickly is going to be summer ABC. So I know not all of you are going to be taking this summer program. Some of you may be out until August, but if you are participating in summer ABC, please make sure that if you have any changes when a child is adding or dropping from the program, that you are submitting your change forms to the email here at the bottom, the oec.summerprekprogram@ade.arkansas.gov. And that team will get you some support on that. So just want you to make sure and understand that if you have a child that you are going to be um, placing in summer ABC, that child should already be in COPA because they're already an ABC child or federal pre-K. You cannot also have that child in your SRA portal. So make sure that you're not double, that's what we would consider like double billing. You don't want them to be in SRA and COPA. They shouldn't be in both for summer. If you have questions and you're not sure, or you have a child that drops or starts, after summer starts and all of that, you will need to submit your change forms, but that email is dedicated to summer pre-K. So take note of that email. Any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out. Angela, yes. Yes, yes, yes. That is a great point. And like I was saying, we have all these different terms that happen. So work sampling and the ounce scale are definitely they're separate from COPA. So when we talk about rolling over COPA data, um, that is specifically your child enrollment information. Work sampling and ounce is your child assessment system. There's a different rollover date, and there is a process that'll be shared later from the A-State team. It will come from the, child assessment coaches or the team in general. And if you have any questions, your coach is a great place to land. Yes. Yeah, and we have lots of acronyms, lots of different system names. I know it can be a little confusing. If you ever have questions, just you can send me an email. You can send it to our COPA support, and we will 100% make sure and get you the right information. Any questions about summer ABC? So summer rosters always change up until the start date. So you will just need to change the roster as of now, and then you can upload an updated roster. Um, and then Cheryl, once summer actually starts, that is when you would need to create the change form. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And those rosters, just make sure you can re-upload a roster. And then what will happen is we will have you waitlist those kiddos. We're going to change them to a summer program model. So just keep an eye out. We'll send you some more information on that. Okay. Okay, and then we sent out a save the date last week, I believe it was, for our summer program training that we will be having. So this is going to be our 25-26 program training where we are going to go over all things ABC. So you can register on PDR. We've got the course number here. Please go and register so that we will know who all is attending. We want to make sure that all of our new coordinators are attending this training. We want you to get PDR credit, so go there and sign up. This is for, new coordinators, of course, but we also encourage seasoned staff, teachers, administrators, finance teams. We will have mostly day one will be everything ABC from eligibility to the new changes in eligibility to how to navigate the documentation that you're getting, what monitoring looks like. Day two will be a lot of COPA tips and tricks, some things that we think will help you. We're going to talk about the parent portal, which is the online application that parents can do through COPA. And then the second half of day two will be finance. So we'll go over all the things for ABC Finance on day two. And hopefully that will pretty much cover everything. So the second day won't be a full day. We plan, I think it ends at about 1-ish on that second day. But both of those are now available on PDR. So please go and register if you have not already. We hope to see you there. Now, I do know that I've had lots of questions about the meeting. We know that, of course, not everyone is going to be able to attend live on those days, and that's okay. So we are going to record both of the days of training. We are going to have them available on our website, so don't stress about that. We will have it if you're not able to make it. I know some people already have some things planned on those days. Okay, I don't see, oh, I do see a question. Okay. For limited English learners, how do we verify that? Does our EL coordinator need to give the ELPA to them, or is there a pre-K version? So, Leanne, there's a couple of different types of documentation that you can provide. Um, in our program guide, we have a list of that documentation. I am going to see if, let me see here. Michelle, can you drop a link maybe to the guide, or can you put that in the chat box for Leanne where it has our documentation that you can provide for limited English learners?
Yes, I'll do that.
And then that is pretty much all for the slides that we have today. I just want to, again, make sure, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I put my contact information in here again in the chat box. Um, we've talked a little bit about several different things, so I am going to go to the chat box, give everyone a chance to ask questions that may have questions. Hannah, so we are still working on how the PDR would work for recorded trainings. There's not a great way for us to track a recorded training afterwards. So I don't believe that we're going to be able to do PDR credit for that. We're still looking at that to see if there is a way to do it for those that can attend. As of now, probably not, but we are still looking into that just to see if there's any way that we can do that with PDR. Sometimes there's options to do different, like having you take a quiz afterwards or things like that, but we have not done that in the past, and so I will keep you updated. Okay. Any other questions for today? We actually got done a little bit quicker. Oh, Demetra, I lost internet. Can you go back over the summer ABC change process? So there is, I can share really quickly again, just so I can put that contact information. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, let me just make that bigger here so you can see it. So yes, if you have a change, so once the summer program begins, and you have a change, let's say you need to add or you need to drop a child, you are going to need to submit a change form within 10 calendar days. And Grace has put the actual, you can just copy and paste it there, the email address for summer pre-K. You'll send that change form there. And then just as a reminder, if you have any children that are in summer ABC, there should already be in COPA because they have to already be ABC or federal pre-K. They should not be in your SRA portal. Let me know if you have any questions. And you can always email that oec.summerprekprogram at ADE email. You can always email if you're not 100% sure on the form or dropping or adding a child, but we just want to make sure that everyone knows you do have to submit that within 10 calendar days. And if you already have a change on your roster, we had a question earlier about if you already had a change on that roster, summer hasn't started just yet, so you can update your roster and then you can re-upload that. And we're going to have you go in and wait list those children before summer starts. You're very welcome. Okay. Didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take today, so we've got plenty of time to give back to you all. Again, I know it's the end of the year, so you're doing all of the things. So just keep an eye out from emails from our team if we need anything from you when it comes to those grant updates in COPA. If there is anything regarding summer ABC, just keep an eye out on your emails. That's where we're going to send that correspondence. So again, let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for joining us today. And if there's anything we can do, please reach out anytime. Have a great afternoon.